Welcome, folks, to Farming Simulator 2022. Now, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a contract guide. I've had a lot of questions about contracts themselves, so we're going to get into that today. As you can see, we don't have much money, and as you can see, we are just a starting out little farm, so contracts are a great way to make money. So, you want to know what you're picking for when you're doing contracts. Now, just keep in mind, guys, when you're picking the contracts, you probably don't want to pick tiny ones. And the reason for that is a lot of times it takes you that amount of time just to get there and do it. Now, there are exceptions, so when you are near it, for example, we are going to borrow the items for this little one, but for $387, you're going to see uh, it's not really going to be worth it. Also, while we have a seeder here, keep in mind when you're fertilizing and seeding, you do have to fill the equipment with your own seeds, even if you are leasing it. So you can see I've driven all the way up to the top left part of the map just for a tiny little seeding contract. That is not worth it at all. Another thing is to pay attention, especially with seeding contracts. You can see we need to plant this with barley, and this was on wheat. So just make sure that's one of the things you go ahead and pay attention to while doing contracts. So as you can see, I spent probably 10-15 minutes on that job just to make $300. It's not effective, so make sure you're picking your contracts right. And also, if you're doing seed or fertilizer contracts, make sure you unload them before you go ahead and complete the contract, because it will take your fertilizer and seed if you do not empty it out. Now, you can use your own equipment on contracts, but if you're early game and you want to go ahead and use the equipment they give you, just keep in mind you're going to be losing a little bit of your contract money towards that. And how you go about picking the right equipment is I generally will go for the biggest one and then use it for the others. Now, you can, but you can't use this equipment on your own fields. However, you can use it for other contracts. So you can take, for example, we're going to borrow the items for this contract, field 162, and we're actually going to go ahead and use it on these other cultivating contracts up here as well. One thing to keep in mind is pay attention to the pricings. These two, as you can see right here, even though it's the same exact equipment, the prices are different to lease it based on the contract. So you would want to lease the cheaper one to use on the other ones. But like I said, I'm going to use that big equipment to go ahead and do these smaller contracts here. So field 162 was the equipment that I actually leased the equipment for, but you can see we're in field 9 actively doing this contract. So you can use the bigger equipment from the big contracts to do smaller contracts quickly and more efficiently. If you are using equipment on multiple jobs, that'll work and help you out quite a bit. Just make sure that whatever contract is the one that has the least items, that you do not go ahead and collect it early. Also, another thing is contracts give you quite a bit of leeway. As you can see here, contract 9 is finished, even though we don't have it quite done. And that's okay, because once you're complete, it will still count for you. And because you see, it worked, gave us the money. For example, as you can see, this is field 162. It is complete, and I can still use the equipment from it to finish up this field 104 right here. And this equipment will not go away until I collect payment, as you can see right there. You can also have workers do contracts for you, but when you hire a worker, it cuts into your profits a lot, and sometimes you don't even break even if you're not using the right equipment. And because the game gives you extra leeway on harvesting or baling contracts, especially large ones like this, you will have extra crops or bale after the contract is finished. You can sell extra bales of crops for profit or even use them on your own farm or production. As you can see here, that big field is done, and we do have extra sunflower seeds, and we're just going to take and sell them now and make some extra cash off of it. Now, you don't have to use the contract equipment. You can use your own, or even, for example, we're going to borrow the items for this big plow contract, and we are going to accept the other ones. And as you know, plowing can take a ton of time. See how little that plow is? We're going to go ahead and do something different. We're going to go ahead and lease this plow for $900. And sure, that cuts into your profit, but if you get the job done way quicker, as you can see, this one actually works faster as well and is way wider. You can do more contracts, make more money during the effort or the amount of time you put in. I do this a lot, especially if I'm doing a ton of contracts. For example, this plow is doing about 3 or 4 times the amount of the plow that was given to me for the contract, and I can do a lot more and get these contracts done faster with this one. A few other tips here at the end. If you're getting all, for example, baling contracts or just seeding contracts, what you can do is go ahead and accept them, and you can see our money, 31, almost 32,000, and you can go ahead and cancel the ones you don't want, and you can see they failed, but what it'll do is after a little bit, it'll cycle in some new ones for you. You're probably asking what's the best contracts for money, and honestly, it's all up to you. What you enjoy to do or how efficient you are. Like that little plow trick for me, using that better plow makes plowing really effective. But as a whole, in general, I would say normally baling or fertilizer contracts, sometimes harvesting contracts. Them are the ones I normally go for, but I myself personally like doing them all. And a lot of times they're more even than people think they are because they're based on your time. A lot of them are based on time, what the game guesses it's going to take, and also the size of the field. Just like using a mower like this can actually save you a lot of time. Not only does it pull in extra grass from the sides, but it does its mowing and raking all in one step for you. Or using a baler like this that can bale and wrap silage bales all at one time, skipping another step for you can really help too. Hopefully this guide helps you out, and we'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.